What is up, my peeps? It's Master Shredder here, aka the Fat Burning Sensei, aka the Fat Destroyer, and it takes a village to raise a child. That's right, you've heard that trope before. It takes a village to raise a child. The reason I know this is because I was raised by a village back in Parihaka. If you haven't seen my story about my upbringing, or part of my upbringing, then check it out. But basically the message was that where do you get boundless energy from? Where do you get energy from? Why does energy, where do you get it from? You know, a lot of us in this modern society, we struggle with lethargy, with feeling meaningless and purposeless. You know, we lack motivation, we lack drive. So what gives us energy for life? You know, what wakes us up in the morning and gets us bright and shiny and makes us feel like pumped to take on the day? Well, you have to be a part of a community. Okay, community is the fabric of society. All right, so essentially, if you are not connected, you have to be connected. I heard some of the people commenting on my videos saying, yes, we're disconnected, we're not connected to where we're from, we're not connected with our families, we're not connected with our brothers and sisters, we're connected online, which obviously has its, you know, pros and cons, but ultimately we need to be connected with people. Okay, we have a saying, which basically means, what is the most important thing on earth? It is people, it is people, it is people. If you lack connection, and I'm talking, what kind of connection am I talking about? Okay, let's break it down. I'm talking about emotional connection, spiritual connection. These are unseen energies that are actually existing inside us. They exist. For example, my words. When I speak words to you, it is spirit. And it is truth, or, you know, it can be false, the opposite of truth, whatever. But nonetheless, my words are invisible, okay? But yet they have implications. When was the last time somebody said, you know, a mean word, a nasty word, or put you down, or tried to shut you out of the conversation, or whatever the case is, cut you off? You know, when you, on the road right now, you know, when people get road rage because they cut you off, they're trying to cut you off. When people, like, their words are basically invisible. They're invisible words, but yet they have huge implications. One word can drive a person to suicide, okay? We know this. So the power of words, and then another positive word can change a person's life forever. You know, I've seen it in my own life where I have given horrible words and seen obviously the implications, and then when I've given encouraging words to people and see their life prosper. All right, so the idea is to remain connected. Understand that, you know what, your energies, whether you know it or not, you have spiritual energies and emotional energies that you partake in or you lack. Okay, so the idea is to remain connected with other people, with your emotions and spiritually, and understand that without that, your life will go haywire. Will go haywire. And that's why I push the communal aspect, because I grew up in a community. Parihaka was one of them. Oyo Marae, Tita Itama Uroa, Ngārua Hine Rangi, Ngāti Porou, Ngāti Rua Nui. I was taken care of by a crap ton of people, and I have a lot of people to thank for the success of my life. Hoani Pāpita, you know, I grew up with a lot of people around me. You know, Māori, the revival of the Māori language was the focus and drive and motivation for my mother and father, Rangiroa and Kataraina Rongonui Tere Te Mi'i Atu Kia Kōrua, Oku Mātua, Anei Rā Tō Mōkai e Mi'i Mana'o Atu Kia Kōrua. So they were second language learners. Okay, they didn't grow up with the language, but they gave me the opportunity to actually grow up with the language, Māori language that was lost. It was a treasure that our people have really fought for and died for. They've died for this language. So Noku ake te wai Māori e, ko riro iau tēnei taonga. It is my honor to receive this amazing treasure that my ancestors have literally died for. Okay, so I carry that motivation in my life. It is a life force. We call it the Modi. So what I'm trying to get at here, guys, is essentially if you're lacking connection with other people, then your life will suffer immeasurably. And that is what we're seeing. The phenomena that we're seeing is the rise in suicide, the rise in, as the rural-urban drift happens, as we break, our communities start to break down, okay, and we start to spread out to the cities or wherever the work is, wherever the money is, essentially. Okay, no longer do we have these cohesive, tight units of people that are acting as one, or at least have the interests of the group at heart. Okay, we're now all fragmented across the world. We live in cities where it's so congested and tiny, but there's like millions of people, but you don't even know your own neighbors. You don't even, check with do you know your neighbors? Okay, if you live in the city, tell me, comment, let me know. Do you know your neighbors? Do you know the person that literally, physically lives, eats, breathes, shits, and wakes up right next to you, your physical being? Okay, do you know your neighbors? Because if you don't, you have a problem. You have a problem. And the problem is fragmentation. It's the opposite of togetherness. It's the opposite of unity. It's the opposite of kotahitanga. So what I'm getting at is there's a spectrum, all right? Spectrum of community, you could say, or whānau, or whakawhanaungatanga. There's many ways of looking at it. But on this end of the spectrum, okay, you have absolute fragmentation where, you've been taken and plucked out of your hometown, out of your family, and you have been placed in a city filled with people, but you don't know anyone. You're a stranger in a strange land, essentially. A stranger in a strange land, and you end up wandering around in the wilderness without meaning and purpose and drive and energy. You end up lethargic, full of depression, full of anxiety, full of worry about the future because you've got no one to share it with. And I mean, if you have a partner, obviously, and kids and all of you have a whānau, you've got a little nuclear whānau, then that is the seed that needs to be propagated. Okay, that's the seed, that's the kākano that we talk about. Te kākano I ruirui o mai I rangi Aotea. That's where the seed comes from. The seed is the source, in a sense. Okay, what I'm getting at is there is a pattern of existence that if you throw yourself into and you subscribe to this pattern of existence, that pattern will propagate itself, and it will be a greater future for us and for our children and for the next generations. Mō tātou a mō ka uri a muri ake nei, as we say in Kaitahu here in Te Waipounamu. So important, so important. So you got these spectrums, okay? So you got this side of the spectrum, you're fragmented, you don't have any meaning or purpose in your life. You didn't grow up with tradition, okay? Be it religious or be it cultural. You don't have these tikanga, we call them, like rules and regulations to adhere to in a moral sense, because it's just you're out for. So in a way, on that side of the spectrum, you're basically out for yourself. You're out for yourself because you don't have anybody else around you to work for, to die for, to live for, to listen to understand, to share your fruits of knowledge, to share your wairua, your spirit, your emotions, to have a back and forth like a tennis match. If you don't have that, then you're not healthy. I'm sorry, but you're not healthy if you don't have that. Okay, health. So then the opposite side of the spectrum, this is where your health can come in, where you are completely, now let's look at the opposites here, okay? When you are so one, you're completely isolated. The other side of the spectrum would be that you are completely integrated, okay? Now, obviously you can take that too far to the point where, and this is another phenomenon that we see, is that people give of themselves so much, they empty themselves so much, they exhaust themselves, and they're doing everything for everybody else, but they get nothing in return. Now, that is not a good deal either, okay? Ultimately, it's always about balance between these two opposites, and you have to find the balance. If you don't, if you start swinging either side of the pendulum, you will end up seeing aberrations in your health. Okay, and they will manifest themselves in a myriad of different ways, and it does include things like cancer. You know, when you hold on to resentments, unforgiveness, you hold on to these things, it really does take a hold. It's like poison in your body. Okay, so that's why it's so important to be integrated in a balanced and healthy way, where you have interaction with other humans on the daily, you know, back and forth interaction, just basically how's your day, the basic shit. You know, it's not any, you don't have to be a scientist or a fucking rocket scientist to figure out that asking somebody about their day actually makes a positive difference in someone's life. Because you know why? It's the currency of attention. Now, I know I'm bouncing around to multiple, you know, different ideas, but I want to make sure that I don't want to just gloss over things as I'm talking about it, because it's so important. And the reason why I'm talking about this is that I have lacked community. So basically I have this community called Fat Bitty Ninjas, okay? And that's what we are. We're an online community. We're strangers from strange lands. We all culminate together every single day, and we do a 5-minute workout. Then we post up a picture or a video of proof to show that we've actually done the workout. We explain how I hate the duck crawls and everybody hates the burpees, or we have a moan together. You know, we express our deepest loves. We express our highest annoyances. And we all laugh about it, and we all support one another through this journey of life, trying to gain the ever elusive overall health. Okay, and I'm talking health, you know, obviously physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, and social health. We're trying to gain this, and so that's the community that we have right now, and it is thriving. It is thriving. It's going off. It is going, so if you lack community, you lack these things I'm talking about, come and join us. You have, unless you want to suffer because you don't have the solution that humanity needs. Humanity needs community. We need to connect with other people. If you don't have that, or you've run yourself into the ground where you're giving too much to everybody else and you're not getting anything in return, you're not getting that reciprocation, because love is reciprocal. Guys, remember this. Love is reciprocal. If you're loving somebody, right, you're pouring out your heart to them, you're giving your money, you're giving your time and energy to them, and this person does not reciprocate, this person does not love you. This person does not love you. Please get those words. There's so many people that exhaust themselves, that empty themselves to other people that do not reciprocate. You're essentially sacrificing your love, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, because sacrifice is a big thing, right? Like, it is going to make a positive difference in other people's lives, but at the sake of your life, you will be giving of your life to the point where you can end up sick. A lot of people end up dying. So the idea is to if you want to partake in love, understand that if you are not being reciprocated to, that person does not love you. Love is reciprocal. You know, the moment somebody gives you something, immediately I feel like, how do I pay them back? How can I pay this person back? And you know what? That is a person who operates in love. If the first thing that you think when somebody gives you something is not, how do I pay this person back? How do I love this person? How do I... Thank you. See that person right there? See, they just let me in first. And immediately I'm like, oh, thank you. There's nothing I can do. I can't give that person anything right now other than a gesture. Thank you, you know? And that's another thing. Rire ho pai marire. The pai marire faith was part of that. It's basically saying to the other person, thank you. Thank you. You are my friend, not my enemy. Passive resistance. It's a similar thing that Te Whiti and Tohu talked about in their messaging, which is essentially love others to the death. Put others first, to your own detriment. Put others first to the point where you will even die. That's what they did. That's what they stood for, and that's what they died for. That's what my people died for. And I'm telling you, it works. It works. So try it out, test it out, all right? So test these theories out. The reason I'm talking about these things is basically to throw out some tidbits and let you guys have a little feast on them and come back and see what you find, all right? But ultimately, a couple of strong points, I think, that I've made. I know I've bounced around all over the place, but I hope you found some of this interesting. Ultimately, my message will be about self-sacrifice for others, loving others, and then trying to break it down for you into little tidbits that you can understand, the implications and the behaviors that you must embody in order to be love. Okay, that's what I'm teaching. That's what I want to do, and that's what I love. I love seeing people loving others. I love it. And I grew up like that. And man, we had a massive whānau, 8 of us in one tiny bedroom, 1-bedroom shack with a couple of batches outside that we created. And it really was about what you can do for the family, what you can give to the others, the young ones, do for the parents as they're, that my mum and dad were fighting to gain their degrees and their masters, etc., their educations. And so I was always filling in, trying to make it easier for them, try and get the kids, I was the oldest, so I'm like, come on, let's do our jobs before mum and papa gets home, because mama, we don't want to upset mama, so yeah. Hope you found this interesting. Would love to hear your guys' feedback. And like I said, if you suffer in that in that area of even if you don't have people to love, maybe you're single or you've just broken up from a relationship and you're grieving, then come. We have people whose partners have died in our community, and they're thriving with the love of everybody else around them, and then they're giving so much more because they've been given love, and so they can give love. You can't give what you don't have, guys. You can't give what you don't have. That's why people get exhausted, get anxious, get depressed, because they're giving of themselves when they don't have the energy to give. You need to be filled with energy. If you don't have a source to fill yourself with energy, then come and join us. It's free for 30 days. You get a free meal plan as well, and the support, the love, the tautoko, it's just amazing. It's just amazing, okay? Come and join us. fatburningninjas.com. fatburningninjas.com. We'll see you there.